think we may be live. Can someone confirm that for me?
This is meeting
we are live. Yeah,
you're live. Yeah.
All right, we're live. Cool. Andrew, you can't see my thing, right?
Currently, there is no image. It's that.
What should that be?
It should definitely be a video of us being live. Okay, I'm seeing us, so that's fine.
There we go. We're good now, but it's the full split screen.
All right.
Nothing like starting that way.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday, and welcome to our third episode of Cabin Fever Comedy. My name is Nash. I will be your host this evening, and I am sorry about that. Tonight, I'm also delighted to introduce my fellow producer and our birthday boy, Michael Martin. Happy birthday, Michael.
Hi, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Was my birthday.
It was, yes.
It's my first day of being 37.
Yay. How was your birthday in quarantine?
Oh, it was great. I did all the things I usually do, which is stay home and play video games and eat Italian food.
You turned 37?
37.
That's old as fuck.
It's really old. In comedy, I'm like 103.
Man.
I know. It's a
They
shame.
should take a driver's license soon.
Pretty soon they're going to revoke it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
we've got a great show for you.
when are we starting the show?
Yes.
I'm close to death.
Good. I love a show that opens with a reminder of your mortality. That's solid, Michael.
Keep it real. That's what I say.
Great for jokes.
We're all going to die someday.
I'm just trying to make everybody look funnier by comparison. That's all.
I know my beard is really not coming in the way I planned.
It's not. No.
It's not.
You've been dyeing it clear. It's not working.
I've been trying for so many years, and I feel like I'm gonna have to give up and buy one.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did.
It's a great looking fake. I'm totally fooled.
Right? I know. It just looks like a bunch of wires.
All right. Well, we've got a great show for you, specifically you, Michael. Nobody else. Sorry. I wanted to open up with some bad news, though. For quarantine. Instagram has denied my verification again. I'm really upset about it. I sent them my ID. I explained the difference between my name and my stage name. And I was like, I promise I am who I say I am. They're supposed to review it over a period of 30 days and get back to you. In 2 days, they wrote me back and they said, we believe you. We just don't care. And neither does anyone else. I would appreciate it if everyone watching this could Google me over the next couple days so that when I apply again, it works.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, over the past couple weeks, I've been thinking about all the things that we're doing in quarantine while we're stuck at home. I have friends that are really dedicating themselves to learning a new skill. So my best friend learned to sew. So many people are learning to cut their own hair or their spouse's hair. I had to learn how to wax my own butthole. It's pretty inspirational, honestly.
That's got to be a little tough on your marriage, right?
Yeah, that it's a difficult location to reach organically, so you do have to sort of involve somebody.
Right.
And I'm a grower, so after a couple of days, I realized though, after a while that my 4-year-old is actually the perfect height. Like right there. So now it's a family thing we get to do.
That's how we learn.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Our first comic is written for McSweeney's, Vulture, Reductress, and currently has one cat. Please welcome Lizzie Logan.
Hi, hello. This is kind of weird. I've never done an online show with my top on, but so I spent most of my time like preparing for this, figuring out where in my room I look the thinnest. So hopefully I look really good and the jokes will be okay. My life normally isn't too different from this. I work from home and I don't leave my apartment that much. So this whole thing has kind of been like when a really talented like minor league athlete gets called up to the majors and they're like, you've been training for this your whole life, like this is your chance to shine. And I'm like, I was in it for the love of the game. I didn't want to go pro. Like I didn't want to make this my whole thing, but We all have our skills. I'm a sorry, my dad is texting me. Is it on?
How very on brand.
He's supportive. He wants to see the show. He just doesn't know how to use the internet. It's all good. I'm a writer and I want to write like movies and stuff. And I actually feel pretty confident about my ability to eventually do that. Because there were 2 movies made about the life of Apple founder Steve Jobs. And the first one was called Jobs. And the second one was called Steve Jobs. And like, I'm definitely that creative. Like the sequel to Alien is called Aliens. I could do that. I could totally be in league with those minds. And I was trying to think of a third example and I found one today. Did you know that they're making another Suicide Squad movie? And this is not a joke. It's literally called The Suicide Squad. The first one was called Suicide Squad, and this next one is called The Suicide Squad. And like, fuck, put me in, coach. Like, all right, Hollywood, here I come. I have that creative ability. I was thinking recently about why twins are so hot. Because what else is there to think about? And I think I think the pressure is higher on twins on like a twin to be hot because you don't want to be the uglier twin. Like you can't, like I myself, I don't even have any siblings. So if I let myself go, I could just be like, it's my genes. Like it's, you know what, whatever, like God made me this way. But if I had an identical twin who had the same DNA, who was like so fit and cute all the time, like you can't, there's no excuse. Like your other half is really hot. Like you have no excuse to not be hot, which is why I think it's so beautiful when you see just like 2 really ugly fat twins. Cause like they made the decision together to like let themselves go and not compete and not be hot. And I think that that's beautiful. Speaking of, super heteronormative beauty standards, I've decided that being tall is for guys what having big boobs is for women. Like you can get away with a lot. Like you don't, like clothes will generally look kind of right on you and you can not really work out and still sort of be the correct shape. And it's just like a pretty good shorthand for, oh, my dad just texted me, Liz on TV. Hi, Dad. Back to boobs. It's a pretty good shorthand for like an attractive person. Like, what's he look like? Oh, well, he's tall. What's she look like? She got big titties. That's just my observation. I don't have like a final wrap-up joke there. So I don't really like do stand up that much. So I was trying to like figure it out, and I was watching a special from another comic who I'm not going to name, but it's Christina P. And she was going on, and she said at one point in her special, which I won't name, but it's on Netflix. And she said she was like complaining about like getting trans people's like pronouns right. Like she wasn't against it, but she was sort of complaining about how like, it's hard to figure out the grammar or whatever. And then later in the special, she was talking about how annoyed she is when people mispronounce words and call it like, espresso or library. And I was like, that's such, like, either you speak correctly or you don't. Like, you can't have it both ways. And like, one's actually a lot worse than the other, because if you get trans people's pronouns wrong, like that means you're sort of bigoted. And like, if you say library and espresso, all that means is that you grew up poor. But I have to make fun of myself now, or else I'm just like such a bitch. A fun fact you might not know about me: this is not my natural hair color. I am not born a redhead, and this is not the nose that God gave me. I did have a nose job, and a lot of people are very shocked when I say that. Both because I don't seem like the person who would have cosmetic surgery, and also because like this doesn't seem like a nose anyone paid for. You can laugh. I know what I look like. Like I wasn't born yesterday. This does not seem like a nose that people paid for. And because it's not, this isn't what I got. This isn't what I ordered. For about 2 years, I had a really cute, like bumpless small nose. And I swear to God, you guys, it grew back. Like that's how Jewish my DNA is that like I paid to have a doctor shave it down. And like 18 months later, all of my cells got together and were like, no. We survived pogrom. We immigrated to America. You have a big nose. You eat a kugel. You like an Andy Samberg. That is it for me. Happy birthday, Michael.
Beautiful. Excellent set.
Wow. That just made me super glad that I absorbed my twin in utero.
Yeah, same.
Dodged a bullet. Our next comedian is from New York City. She's been featured in Vice, has appeared on Showtime's 3 a.m., and you can listen to her podcast, Bad Romance, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please welcome Bronwyn Isaac.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm just going to jump into this and we're going to do it together. Okay. The package has been delivered. Adam winked so hard he got dust in his eye, which caused him to cry a little bit, which Steve loved because nothing's hotter than a man crying in his delivery shorts. Did you roll your shorts up? That's seriously hot, dude. Adam was pissed at Steve's comment because he was trying to communicate about their plan. Did you hear me? It worked. Jeff Bezos is more dead than print media. Jeff Bezos is more dead than Bernie and Weekend at Bernie's, except we love Bernie Mac and Jeff could never pull off Tommy Bahamas. Jeff Bezos is more dead than that dinosaur in the dinosaur movies that like really made me cry a lot. Didn't they all die? Steve interrupted. Then the fact that Jeff Bezos was dead hit Steve's stomach harder than an undercooked Chipotle bowl. Holy fuck, I love you, baby. You can deliver your... Holy fuck, I love you, baby. You can deliver your goods to my slot anytime. It wasn't long before they were in the Amazon delivery truck, making love more passionate than Ina Gardner's love of booze and gay husbands. Adam and Steve were coworkers for years, but they didn't fall passionately in love until the pandemic hit. It was one day during a staff meeting that they caught each other's eyes across the room and realized they had the same throbbing desire to murder Jeff. Imagining Jeff choking on poison before he could open another shell company got Adam and Steve harder than Jeff got when he fired another single mom. They both slept like babies that night, knowing Jeff was finally dead and gone until the next morning. Boinga boinga, boys. Is that how poor people joke? I watched Big Bang Theory once. Adam and Steve were startled. What in the holy hell? The ghost of Jeff Bezos was floating in their room on a really expensive hoverboard, only available on Amazon Prime. I'd love you boys to fill out a survey about your experience murdering me so I can have my team send you customized ads for poison. Wait, aren't you dead? Adam and Steve cried in unison, distracted by the fact that Jeff Bezos looks like a giant thumb even as a ghost. Actually, he looks like a giant thumb that moonlights as a DJ that has some allegations. I am dead, yeah, but I uploaded my brain to the cloud and made a deal with Satan back in Miami so I could customize my experience as a ghost. You're a nightmare, Steve said, annoyed, but also a little aroused by the concept of being haunted by someone so evil. I'm not a nightmare, I'm a ghost, silly. Jeff Bezos laughed at his dumb joke with the full force of a man who regularly wears shorts to the opera. No offense, but why aren't you more offended that we murdered you? Oh, wait. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to repeat this line. No offense, but aren't you more offended that we murdered you? Hell no, I've murdered way more people than you just by being myself. When I was in 6th grade, I had my whole class rate each other based on popularity and then suggested we beat the shit out of the least popular kid. So like, honestly, I should have been murdered a long time ago. Adam and Steve didn't know how to respond. Was Jeff being vulnerable? Was he suicidal when he was alive? Could you even humanize a ghost, let alone the ghost of a supervillain? Before they could think this through more, Adam broke through the weirdness and asked, Jeff Bezos, how do we get you to stop haunting us? Oh, no worries. Your employee Prime membership is due to expire in 3 weeks, so I'll be gone then. Happy birthday. That's where my brain is. That's not normally my stand-up, but that's just some art that I'm working on that I wanted to share. I would love any feedback, you know, in comments or messages about like maybe the direction, like, do we want more sexual? Do we want more murder? Yes. Do we want Jeff to be more annoying? Like, should they become a throuple? Yeah, I can hear a neighbor who I met the other day in the hallway who has been knocking on people's doors offering to share blunts.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you've ever been stalked by a cat caller, but it is apparently a thing that can happen. I walked in the other day from taking out the trash and he was like, oh, hey, like, you know, like, do you live in the building? And we exchanged information. And then he proceeded to knock on my door every day, offering me blunts to smoke with him since then. So I don't know, like, I think I reached peak womanhood when I brought up the fact that I have a boyfriend during a pandemic. What, like, it's reductive to be like, why are men like this? But also why? What the fuck? I think that's my time. Thank you for experiencing that with me.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Bronwyn.
Woo! Personally, I say more Jeff Bezos. And I'm married.
That's what we all say.
Give the neighbor my number for free blunts. I'm not above it.
Say that.
You might know our next comic from her YouTube series, Dirty Science, and if you don't, you should. We'll post the link below once the episode wraps. She's also part of a nonprofit called Respira Works, which is dedicated to making and helping getting ventilators to developing countries affected by COVID. You can donate to them from our website. That's cabinfevercomedyshow.com. Here's Pallavi Gunalan. Sorry, I'm on spot.
Oh my God. Hey, my little quarantinis. How's everybody doing? It's like so good to see you all. When Michael asked me to do this show, I thought it was a TikTok Make-A-Wish, so I'm a little confused, but super happy to drop in and do it. As you know, it's your girl Pallavi from my YouTube series, and first off, I just want to say that I'm like wishing everybody well during this time, especially the most vulnerable amongst us, the elderly. Like, we have to protect them at all costs or they will haunt us. So like, if you know anybody that's elderly, like anybody 30 years or older, just be like extra kind to them, you know? Just give them like an extra tight hug when we're allowed to, you know? Anyways, I'm just like here to like lighten the load during quarantine. Like, I know we're all like stuck in this quarantine and we're like not taking good care of ourselves. And like, I just wanted to help with that because I know it's like so unfair that we have to like stay inside while some of my like closest friends and relatives get to like go to cafes and like gift shops and stuff. And sure, it's in a hospital, but like I always say, hospitals are like amazing places to shop. They're like so underrated, you know? Like, did you know if you find the right closets in hospitals, they have like free cotton balls and alcohol, okay? It's incredible. I like always reload on Xannies when my Nana takes a spill and gets to go. Anyways, today I wanted to do a full face makeover to like keep your spirits up and give us an excuse to like touch our faces. Oh, I'm so bad. Oh my God. I'm so bad. Oh man, I know that. So I wanted to do that because I know like so many of you are like stuck inside your like teeny tiny apartments and you're like not working, which I know you all love doing. I mean, so many people are complaining about like not getting to work. So I mean, I've like never done it myself, but I assume it gives people like a sense of purpose, like the Peace Corps or like online racism. So first of all, before we start, we have to moisturize because like we don't want like our skin to crack like the basis of our relationships as this quarantine continues, you know? It would be like so sad if like maybe like you realize that your roommates only liked you because like you could get them into clubs and stuff for free, and like now that you've lost access to everything material, you've like lost access to yourself. Not that that happens to me. I don't have roommates, only maids. Anyways, first of all, after the moisturizer, I generally like using a concealer to like hide blemishes, but it's like I don't have the energy to hide anymore. And like, how can I hide myself if there's no one left to hide from? So whatever, you know. Okay. You know, I like to do like a lot of foundation. I got my girl my Fenty, right? I like to lay it on just like pretty thick. We want to make sure we have like a good layer of foundation, you know, just so our tears can't run through it. Not that we've been like crying or anything because we feel so alone, because like no one, like literally no one has FaceTimed us or anything, and it's like it's totally fine. We're like all really just like discovering ourselves through the quarantine, you know, like our love of books and organizing them by color, you know, or by like how appetizing they may be, or like, you know, how much just like how much we love that like our parents haven't checked on us since this all started. And it's like, yeah, they weren't visiting us before, so it's fine. Like, we're fine. We're like totally free and independent adults, you know, all of us. Okay, I like to brighten my dark spots with this great color corrector, but like I ran out because like I haven't been outside in like 12 days, and I tried to give myself a self tan, and I ran out of bronzer and shoe polish, which I know my white friends have been recommending for years. So I ran out of it. I mean, it's got to, like Justin Trudeau wears it. Like that's saying something, you know? But whatever. So I ran out. Okay, anyways, now the eyes. Okay, like after you've iced them down from like crying all day, you want to make sure to like brighten the inside with something lighter than your skin tone, right? Just like that. Just brighten it up, you know, just kind of just with something really light, kind of like the majority of Congress, you know, pretty light like that. Maybe just like how every Instagram filter skews, just lightening it up, you know. Okay, and then over that, I like to choose just like the darkest color. And I chose blue, which is a fun name to use for your crippling depression. And you just put it over here, just right on the edges. So it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's turning out so well. Okay, great. Then you don't want to forget your brows and your eyelashes because they will fall out from malnutrition. So I like to just, you know, get my eyelashes, right? Just all the way up. And then with my brows, I just like to darken them up kind of like America's future. Just darkening them up. Just like that. I like to just like, you know, just like fill them in kind of like white people did with history. Just like filling in the gaps wherever it's convenient, you know, whatever you feel like. Okay, and then it's time for eyeliner, you guys. Okay. So you want to use your eyeliner to like clearly define this line, this lash line. You want to use your eyeliner and clearly define it, just like he won't the relationship, you know, just like clearly define this line, just like, you know, just to give yourself something to have right there. It's just perfect. Okay, great. Okay, and then we're almost done. Now we get to do the lip, you guys. Okay, and like I picked up a bright red lipstick to kind of like represent where we're at in the stock market right now. And like I like to do my lip like a little bit different. Like I like to make like a statement lip. And the statement today is, Kyle, please call me back. It's a fucking pandemic. You promised me Uber Eats, and like, why won't Rihanna release the album? Like, I quit college to see you on tour. I don't understand, you know? Like, why is this happening? Anyways, like, happy birthday, Michael. Like, follow me on social media. I'll be here, and I guess I'll see you guys in like 2032 or whenever this is over. Bye.
That was amazing.
I am going to watch that every morning before I go back to work. I can remember to do this. Oh, our next comic is a writer for Netflix Family and a producer of Spitfire Comedy in Chicago. Here's Andrew Nadeau. Woo!
Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing okay. It's been a little rough here. I tried to start a business to help with social distancing. It was like Uber, but with horses. But it turns out most horses don't know how to order Ubers. I really miss going outside. I used to love to take a book and go sit in the park. That way the trees know what happens to them if they try anything. I tried to get a pet rabbit to keep me company, but when I got home, I realized they sold me a sideways duck again. I had to write tech support because my caps lock key got stuck. But they said they wouldn't help me until I stopped yelling at them. And I buried my father last week. He was really mad when he got out. I was reading about the infinite monkey theory. It says if you give infinite monkeys infinite keyboards, they'll eventually create the works of Shakespeare. That's really unimpressive when you realize that Shakespeare did it without any monkeys. I found out you can download audio magazines just like audio books. I got Playboy. It's not the articles, it's just 45 minutes of James Earl Jones describing the photos.
Okay, hold on.
I think that watching porn gave me unrealistic expectations about how willing pizza delivery drivers would be to adopt a barter system. Being served breakfast in bed is the most romantic way to wake up. Unless you live alone like I do. Then it's the most terrifying. I got kicked out of the opera for singing along again. I think that melancholy is the worst kind of melon. Except for honeydew. This used to be a ventriloquist act, but it turns out it's really hard to talk without moving your lips. So instead I just never moved the puppet's lips and pretended he was talking for me the entire time. A lot of times people ask me, Andrew, you need to learn the difference between questions and statements. When a transformer dies, what's the respectful amount of time to wait before I can just drive it like a regular car? When I was 5, I asked my father where babies came from, and he told me the stork, which was so upsetting. At such a young age to learn that my mom fucked a stork. When I was 7, I ran away to join the circus as their accountant. I used to think I wanted to be a marine biologist because I loved aquariums, but it turns out I didn't love marine biology. I just loved the idea of fish prison. I used to work as a ranch hand. One day, a bunch of sheep got out, and I told the rancher, there are 18 sheep out in the field. He said, round them up. I said, there are 20 sheep out in the field. I bet that Secret Santa was absolutely terrifying at the Schrodinger office. I lost my job as a therapist because I took all the black and white Rorschach tests and I replaced them with pictures of pandas. Then every time a patient said they saw a panda, I would act increasingly concerned. I was reading about sex robots, which I think are wrong. If I want to have sex, I'll do it the way God intended, by falling in love and marrying a regular robot. I got called up on stage to be a magician's assistant, which was strange because I was not at a magic show. The magician said, do I have anything up my sleeves? And I said, yeah, arms. And he said, no, anything I can use to do the trick. I said, I don't see any way you can do a trick without using your arms. When I can't remember a word for something, I say, I'm sorry, I forget the English word for it. That way people assume that I'm bilingual instead of an idiot. I had the worst roommate in college. It was Martin Luther. Every time he had a girl over, he'd nail a sock to the door. I had a friend that was really into Marvel movies, and he's told me that the Avengers and X-Men take place in the same universe. I said, yeah, all movies do. I see them. I was talking to my girlfriend about having kids one day, and she said if we did, she wanted to name them after our favorite songs. So if we had a girl, she'd name her Layla. And then if we had a boy, I would name him DuckTales theme song. Forensic anthropologists can identify where someone grew up just by examining their teeth. But it turns out most people prefer that you just ask them. I bet the worst part of the job for butlers is constantly being accused of murder. I thought I invented a great new dance, reverse moonwalking. Turns out that's just regular walking. I hate listening to voicemails, so I started pretending they're just incredibly personalized podcasts. A friend asked me what my favorite podcast was. I told him I really liked Your Prescription's Been Ready for 3 days Now. say you can't fight City Hall, but that's true for most buildings. Change is hard. The soft ones are called dollars.
Oh boy.
I was walking by a crystal ball factory and they had a big sign that said 0 accidents since next Tuesday. Nobody, Carol. I bet the hardest job in the world was Fight Club's publicist. If you average out the opening in A Tale of Two Cities, absolutely nothing happened. If you apply for an unpaid internship and you don't get the job, you can just show up anyway. The worst they can do is start paying you. I think that's my time. I'm Andrew Nadeau. Happy birthday, Michael.
Woo!
Woo.
Once again, I am sorry about making you breakfast. Just windows,
Should have
damn.
knocked first, Nash.
He was asleep. It was 4
Knock
a.m.
louder.
Wanted to surprise him.
Fair. That's fair.
Our next comedian was a finalist in the TBS and Rooftop Comedy's National College Comedy Competition and has performed at the prestigious Gilda's Laugh Fest Comedy Festival. Say hello to Sohrab F.
Woo!
Woo.
Woo.
Hi guys. Hey, you guys know about goat yoga? That's like a thing white people invented, which is frustrating because they took two brown people things. They took goats and yoga and they stole it from us and then they made something Caucasian. I don't even know how they pulled that off. That's like if us brown people took Labradoodle bar crawls and made it Middle Eastern somehow. Hard to do. You guys, white people invent dumb shit. You guys, you know what? White people give their dogs DNA tests. Did you know about that? They take blood from their dogs and they send it to a lab to figure out the dog's genealogy. What are you trying to teach racism to dogs? What are you doing? Is that a new trick of theirs? Stick, stay, segregate the other dogs. We're doing poodles only in this dog park. Hey, I was Googling stuff and there's a thing out there called dog resumes. That's a real thing. I can't blame white people for that. I have no proof that white people invented dog resumes, but I have to assume that has to be them. I can't imagine anybody. And context clues leads me to the conclusion that perhaps white people invented dog resumes. I think they're going to invent dog credit scores next. I think that's going to be the next. That's going to be the next thing. I'll do a couple of my other stupid race jokes, and I'll do some new silly shit I wrote. Some people are just bad at racism. That's the thing that happens. Some people are just stupid at racism. I was in Indiana. I was in the worst state in the union. I was there. I was working. I was doing my day job. Somebody rolls down the window. They call me the N-word. That's not even accurate. It's 10:30 in the morning. Who is that racist before lunch? How you feel? I had to call my boss. I had to call my employer. I was like, hey man, what's up? Over here in Indiana, just got called the N-word. What do I take? Like a half day? How do we handle this? You see a lot of in Indiana, you see a lot of Amish people. You know what Amish people hate? When you call them farm Jews. I don't like that very much. That's the thing. I just want people to be accurate if you're going to be racist. That's all I want. Just say something accurate. If you're going to be racist to me, don't just call me a terrorist. That's very lazy. It's very inaccurate. I'd be a terrible terrorist. First of all, I'm fat. I don't see a lot of fat terrorism on CNN. They live very healthy lifestyle, these terrorists. I don't know what. Terrorism is just CrossFit. It's a lot of running and jumping and climbing, pushing tires down the middle of the street. Also, I can't keep a secret. That's a really important part of terrorism. Keeping your fucking mouth shut, and I can't do that. Get a couple drinks in me, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'd be a terrible. If I was a terrorist, I would have fucked everything up September 8th. I would have ruined the whole thing. Just drunk at a strip club. Like, yeah, we're here for work. Got something big planned. Hey, ketamine's a fun drug. Ketamine's a fun drug for people to do, but horses. It's actually meant for horses. It's ketamine's the only drug when you go to buy it, you have to be specific on whether or not you want horse or human. Like, I've never bought weed, and they've been like, "We want horse weed or human weed." And I had to think about it. Ketamine, you kind of got two options. Ketamine's it's for horses. But I was surprised to find out that horses didn't invent it for other horses. Like humans, a scientist invented ketamine. There's a scientist whose job it is to get horses fucked up. That's a fun job as a scientist. I can get behind that. Horses need drugs. Horses have stressful lives. If a horse breaks its leg, humans decide that it should get shot in the head. That does not seem like a human decision. That seems like a horse decision. I feel like a horse should come up with that decision. You're telling me there's no other way we can help that horse out? We just have to shoot it in the head? Imagine if you broke your leg and two horses got together and talked about whether or not you should get shot in the head. I wouldn't trust that decision to horses. I would want humans. I would want the same creature I am. Crack's not funny. Crack used to be funny, but crack's not funny. Don't joke around about crack. Crack, I think, makes you very, it's a capitalist drug. Every crackhead I know is a small business owner. They're entrepreneurial. I will say that about, crack's a 15-minute commitment. It's not even really a big deal. I accidentally smoked crack once. That's my big shame. I was at a party and a guy handed me a joint and I smoked it and it crackled and I asked him why. And he was like, yeah, I put a little crack in there, which you know what? Crack's hard to come by. What a sweetheart for sharing his hard-earned. It's expensive and it's difficult to get. And let's get some. I didn't do crack. I didn't wake up with the intention that's doing crack. I accidentally tried it. All right. And it was, I'm just here to let you know, wasn't that bad. Again, 15-minute commitment, in and out. I feel like you can just be like, hold my calls, Barbara. I'm going to smoke some crack. I'll be back in 15 minutes. I think that's it for I'll end on a good one. 25% of white people dress like zookeepers. That's a fact. Wear too much khaki and too many pockets. That's a very I think I'll end on that. All right, you guys are good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sohrab.
I Googled goat yoga.
It's real.
You can really do yoga with goats.
Yep.
I mean, you can't right now because we're in quarantine and presumably no one has goats living with them.
Do you think the goats something's up, or do you think the goats are just like, hey, people, this is cool?
It depends on the goat, you know?
Yeah, there's probably like a very namaste ass goat. Very annoying. The goat all the other goats fucking hate.
Yogi goat, obviously.
A goat with like crystals and shit. It just
So
listens
it's got
to Joe
like an
Rogan
old
all the
tattoo.
time. Yeah. This goat's always like talking to other goats, like, guys, we gotta talk about DMT. It's great, all right? It's a dream molecule.
Goats in a polyamorous relationship.
It won't shut up about Yang.
Oh boy. Well, I'm super excited to introduce our next comic, who was our headliner, but he's got cooler things to do in a few minutes, so we're bumping him up a little early. You can watch his 1-hour special, Small, Dork, and Handsome, on Amazon anytime. And you should pre-order his new album, AKA. It comes out Friday, May 8th, but you can pre-order it now on Amazon Music. Please welcome Myq Kaplan.
Hey. Woo! Oh, thank you. This is like much more like a show. I put smaller quotations around show for this one than I do for every other show that I've done from my home. What a wonderful thank you for everyone being here in this room making the sounds of laughter. I think there's like a future in shows where you can hear people laugh. I don't know, call me crazy, but I love all the jokes that people have been telling. I'm sorry that I'm not really gonna tell jokes because I feel like that's kind of unoriginal now. Like so many comedians tell jokes, you know. So I'm kind of going my own way. I used to be a one-liner comedian, and now I'm a not quite ever finished with one-liner comedian. So my entire set will be approximately one line, one breath. This is a goat yoga session that I still haven't finished, but the goat's gone. Don't worry, everybody. Somebody got my goat, I guess is a thing you could. So before I get started, everything will be before I get started. I am the headliner. The headliner normally goes at the end, but in this time is meaningless. So why not? You know, I'm also not in space. And I also am in space. I'm in space and time, as we all are. The Earth is in space, and I'm just taking social distancing more serious than everyone else. So you're keeping 6 feet from people. I'm on a satellite. I love. Here's a couple specific things that I loved in a few other people's sets. I think when the makeup tutorial was going on, I loved so much. My favorite part was when you talked about concealer, your hand disappeared. It was it literally got hit. You were like talking about hiding, and I'm like, is this a masterful part of the bit? And I think the answer is yes. Sorry to blow up your spot that you're also in space with me, and you just have that backdrop there. I liked Andrew. You talked about sex robots, and I just wanted to point out that every robot is a sex robot. If you never mind, any joke can be a this kind of joke if you do this to it. So I also I've also heard that thing about if you give enough monkeys enough time, they will create the works of Shakespeare. I found that you can just check it out of the library and copy it over yourself. So all we need to do is get one monkey with a library card and some industriousness, you know, but so far, I think monkeys aren't allowed to get library cards. Do you guys know about Selfie Monkey? If you haven't heard of Selfie Monkey, look up Selfie Monkey and find out that there's a monkey who would be the legal copyright owner of a photograph that this monkey took. But monkeys they're not allowed. I almost said no longer. They've taken the rights away from the monkeys. And that's one way you can do comedy is almost make a mistake, then make the mistake, then be like, what an idiot I was. Look at that mistake, dummy. So feel free to do that on your own time. And Sohrab, I loved your set as well. My only issue, I love that you said that it's important to be accurate. And you said that right, I think, after you said that the Amish don't like to be called farm Jews. And the only reason I say this as a non-farm Jew, I bet you've never checked. I bet that you have not called any. I mean, look, please correct me if I'm wrong. That this is the only version of a minority that I am is a non-farm Jew. So I will take the rest of my. And everyone else, you didn't say anything that I could nitpick. So, but everyone's jokes, very strong. Love all comedy. I love all comedy. Is that true? I love the genre of comedy, and I love a lot of specifics of comedy, particularly the genre of the subgenre of tearing down comedy from within comedy. I'm going to take over every show and be like, is it even comedy anymore? Don't worry. The future is female. Your new headliner is wonderful. So I am, let's see. I am happy. I'm happy to be here. Happy. Whenever anyone asks me, how are you today? When anyone ever asks me, what are you up to these days? I take a long time to answer because I really think about it, because part of the answer is I'm grateful to be talking to a person who is even going through the motions, at least, of asking me how I am, probably with some genuine care beneath it, at least enough care to make me think that is what they want to know. And so this is the way that I answer the question, how are you and what are you up to, every time, eventually ending on this conclusion that what I spend most of my time doing these days is answering the question, how are you? So I think by the end of the quarantine, which I'm optimistic that there will be an end to the quarantine. By the time we get to the letter E for end of the quarantine, which is the last letter in the word quarantine. I think the word is actually quarantine, end of the quarantine. And then it keeps going for as long as you want and or don't want or need. But the thing that I really want to talk about is Matt Damon briefly, because I was thinking about how Matt Damon, MD, he could say that if he wanted to, and it would sound like he's a doctor, but it's just his initials. So Matt Damon, MD here. What is that? What are you a doctor of? Oh, I'm just a doctor of being Matt Damon. Fair enough. I accept that. Here's the thing that I know about him. I think that the only thing I know about him, I don't know that he's an actor. I don't know that he won an Oscar. I only know that he cares about getting people clean water around the world. I know that because he has an organization that does. I assume if he doesn't, then why do I think it? Like there'd be almost no reason. Like why would I think that Matt Damon wants people to have clean water if that wasn't true, or there's some propaganda machine in place? And that's the thing. I feel like there are people who hear that about Matt Damon and they're like, yeah, he's his ego. He wants people to think that he's a good guy. That's why he actually formed the organization, so that people think he's a good guy. What are you gonna drink Matt Damon's ego water? That's what you want? And there's like a person in the third world like, yeah, I would die without this water. Yeah, but it tastes like his ego. I mean, as egos go, his probably is a pretty tasty ego, I guess. And then there's a commercial. Hey, Lego Matt Damon's ego. There's not that commercial, but I apologize for all of these. I think that's fine. You can say whatever you want on Twitter as a joke or in comedy as a joke, and just be like, "I'm sorry" immediately, just in case, just in case. Whether not for anything that's actually potentially problematic and offensive and harmful and hurtful, only for puns, which are problematic and hurtful and harmful, but not the other thing that I said. So just 3 out of 4. So in conclusion, I think Michael, happy birthday. I am happy. Honestly, I like to, as I call it, happy everyone writes on your Facebook wall day. I sincerely am grateful to, I don't think of them as robot overlords. I really do think they are. I mean, I guess that's because they're in the part now where they're just helping us. They're just serving us. We're like, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa. Oh, wait, Siri, I don't have Alexa. Siri, get me an Alexa. Alexa, thanks Siri for getting me an Alexa. Hey, whose birthday's when? Google, will you look up? Oh, great. Like, it's just sort of a nice, I guess it's a nice price to pay for the authoritarian dictatorship that we find ourselves sliding into, that we do know everybody's birthday that we went to high school with. So I'm glad to know. And here's one final joke that will demonstrate once and for all that I am a comedian. Shortest joke I've ever written, 6 words. By the time I get to the joke, I mean, once I tell it, it'll be really short. But getting up to it, we might never arrive. Here it is, almost there. Oh God, I'm really good in between my jokes. I'm all about the mortar. A lot of people have bricks, which is fun because a brick is a thing that is solid, except when it's in basketball, and that's a thing that it's liquid. As long as you tell it like a joke, is it a joke? We don't have time to get into that. Final joke. Here it is. Here it comes. Almost there. Coffee is not my cup of tea. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, and have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, we'll let your satellite go now.
Oh my God. My stomach hurts.
I'm glad I
He's
didn't
gonna make it to his other show on time.
Will he get a
Really
car
does.
quick enough?
Well, I'm very happy to introduce our real headliner. You might have seen her on a little show called The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Please welcome Carmen Lagala.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, in your face, Myq Kaplan. Oh man.
Boom.
Yeah, I love it. I love Myq so much. I was actually going to do my set where I just go over how much I liked Myq Kaplan, saying how much he liked other people's sets. So make it real meta, huh? Funny Zoom background, huh? What is this? What a time! What a time! I'm in New York City. My walls are very thin. this is pretty embarrassing, you know? I feel like I'd rather have my neighbors overhear me having hardcore sex than doing my COVID-19 jokes to what they think is no one. It's so wild. We've all been on our phones more. I hate phone calls. We've been the FaceTime stuff I'm having a really hard time with because I can't not just check myself out because it's my face. So like my friends will be like, I'm running out of hand sanitizer. And I'm like, should I get bangs? It's terrible. Also can't come up with any excuses to get off the phone. I'm like, I gotta go stare into the abyss. So I can't keep talking anymore. A lot of people are asking me, Carmen, what's your favorite part of this virus? And how do you pick just one? I think my favorite is advertisers trying to still get our money. And my favorite one that I saw was Express, the clothing line. They put up an Instagram ad that they have since taken down. And all it said was, are the days blurring together? Try something new, 40% off. And I was like, oh my God, should we check on Express? Like, are they okay? It's they took it down, which is great. I wish they had like leaned into it instead and just been like, it's a pants-demic, everyone, get yourself some pants. The very fabric of society is disintegrating, but that doesn't mean our cotton poly blends are, and they are COVID-19% off right now. Just have some fun. I've been reading the news. Terrible idea. This virus really seems like it's like a young woman who just moved to the city and she's trying to find herself, you know? There's just so many different symptoms. I'll Google them all. I'm like, is itchy feet a symptom? And the internet's like, yeah, you have the worst version. You're gonna die. I read in the news, there's a very funny article to me, to no one else. It's there was a hospital in New York City that received Yankees ponchos, the baseball team. So it had the logo all over it. And that was supposed to be protective gear for the hospital workers. And the hospital workers were furious. They got online. And then the head of the hospital had to make a statement. And he just goes, no, those were just a gift from the Yankees. And whew, what a beautiful backpedal. They didn't give any more of a quote. I would have been like, keep going, man, and just had him try to work his way out of it. Like, no, you want to be protected from the virus, but also a light drizzle. So put on your cheesehead hats and your #1 foam finger gloves and get in there and give that man his rectal exam. All right. Imagine waking up from being in the hospital with COVID and your doctor is wearing a Yankees rain jacket. You'd be like, am I dead? Or did we win? The doctor's like, no, we actually all lost. So I've been going for some jogs for there's nothing to do. I go for a light jog every other day with my boyfriend. He's great, by the way. I'm quarantined with him. He's going down on me right now. And we go for runs past a graveyard, which is advertising. They have space available, just in case anyone is wondering. I looked it up. It's about $2,000 for 100 years. What's the catch? And we run past it. I love a graveyard. I saw last week. There's a headstone, and it just said the last name on it, and the last name is Gay, G-A-Y, Gay. And before we tighten up on this joke, I just want you guys to know that some of my best friends are dead, and no one like the homophobia joke. Don't make it. Don't call things gay. But I think if my last name was Gay, that's just an opportunity to have fun in the graveyard. I would have my headstone, and then below my name, just have an arrow pointing in a direction, because then you're king of the graveyard. That's fun. No matter who's next to you, it doesn't matter. Some guy just says like loving father and devoted husband, and then I'm next to him like, ha, gay. That's a fun joke, and if I get canceled for that, I'm dead. Doesn't matter. Let's see. I don't know where I'm at. I haven't been paying attention. Let's see. I'll say this and then I'll go. My boyfriend, great guy. I did put on makeup the other day. He was putting on, big Zoom show. You gotta look good for YouTube Live. And he came up behind me while I was putting on concealer. We were talking about concealer earlier, even with the theme. And he goes, "Hey, isn't it weird that women don't put makeup on their ears?" And I was like, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" And he goes, "No, because they're a different shade than your face. I thought you'd want to match them. Did you want to match the two? Did you want to match them?" And I was like, "Oh my God. Your dick tip doesn't match your shaft. Like, what are we doing? Is this fighting?" So I just put some concealer in my hand and I smoothed him right out, everyone. Yeah. I put a little smoky eye on the tip. I can't even do that to myself. Beautiful. There's a lot you can do with makeup. And that concludes my stand-up on Zoom. Happy birthday, Michael.
Excellent, Carmen. Thank you.
Wow. I sort of want to see the smoky one-eyed snake.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Would you like to do it on my YouTube channel? That'd be so cool.
Do we have a volunteer? No. Okay, that's weird. Thought you guys all had nothing to do. Well, that's it for us tonight. Wow, you guys have been great. Thank you so much for hanging out. A reminder that we have partnered with Comedy Gives Back, which is an organization designed to help out-of-work comics or performers affected by COVID get access to medical and mental health resources. We'd love for everybody to consider donating. You can go to our website or you can go to comedygivesback.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Stay safe.